I'm Thea Sharrock, and I'm the director of Wicked Little Letters, which is a new comedy that follows the true story of a woman from 100 years ago who received a load of very rude poison pen letters. And the film follows the journey of discovering whether the woman she thought, she assumed had written them, is the true poison pen writer or not.
It's the sense of truth is stranger than fiction, and I think we talked about if this story wasn't true, but you were trying to pitch it to a studio to make a film of it, everyone would go, "This is ridiculous nonsense." No, but I think there's an authenticity in it and a natural comedy in the fact that it really was true, and slightly absurd, and brilliantly enjoyable. So it's a nice place to make a film from.
And it's the upsetting of expectations about what was happening around that period, I suppose. 1920s, just post-war, seaside town in England. You expect something considerably more genteel than you see in the film, I think. And it descends quite far. It descends quite fast into another space, doesn't it? A really fun, exciting, sometimes obscene space. Well, that's one of the key resonances of the film today, of course, because there's plenty of people today on the internet who, for various reasons, feel they don't have any power, and the anonymity of the internet enables them to send out these outrageous, sort of provocative, offensive messages. It's the same thing going on, I think.
There's a funny thing looking at the campaign of where the film might how we might take the film to the public, and the idea of one of the trailer lines we've got at the moment is "Be careful what you post," which is as relevant 103 years ago as it is today, which is kind of great.
I mean, it was just hilarious. That's the clear thing. I think the projects that end up being like the clearest propositions are often the most instinctive. Olivia and I read it, laughed our heads off, shed a tear here and there. We're totally into Johnny's world, and it's rare that something so funny, the humor is all about the storytelling. So it's not just gags, pointless gags that are just distracting potentially from the story. They all support the story. All the characters are so well formed in their comic idiosyncrasies to support the story and the tensions between them. It was just an instinctive response to just a really brilliant, hilarious script. Yeah,
It was a really easy read, wasn't it?
such an easy read. Yeah, I mean we did a bit of work on the script after that, but it was so there already, wasn't
no,
it?
the characters were just brilliant,
yeah.
weren't they? They were just completely real right from the beginning. Even the
Yeah.
really tiny parts. That's one of for me, that's always
Yes.
a massive teller.
Yeah.
The two lead parts were obviously really well
Yeah.
constructed, but the minute you met any of the small parts, they just all came right
Yes.
off the page, which is
Yeah.
why we had such an amazing response
Yeah.
from all the actors.
And I think for Olivia personally, the role was something she hadn't done before. That very prim, uptight, butter wouldn't melt sort of persona. So that was great fun, and the chance she would always, I think, prefer a two-hander or a three-hander than leading something on her own. I hope I'm not sort of talking around her future job offers, but she loves having fun with other actors, and it was clear that there were just so many brilliant roles in this film, and they all did have a huge amount of fun together.
It was, as Ed and Thea were saying, it's a great script, and we're all looking for great scripts the whole time. But there's something now, if you're asking an audience to go to a theatre for a night out, it's got to be bold, interesting, in somehow or other different from everything else that's out there. And I think the minute I read this and the proposition of it and the funny, foul-mouthed language, and when the script arrived for us at Blueprint, Collie, Olivia was attached, and Jessie Buckley was attached, and there's nothing more delightful than seeing those two doing this.
So I got the script actually in between these two. Graham and I were already working together on another project, and just like Ed, I mean, it's an incredibly quick read, this one. I loved it from start to finish. It felt a really fresh voice that I hadn't heard before. It's probably worth saying, actually, it's Johnny Sweet's first ever full screenplay, which is amazing. And it just arrived fully formed. That's the other thing. Often at the stage that I get scripts, they're often like 150 pages. This was really tight right from the beginning. It was like 100 pages. It was like almost ready to go, basically, which was really exciting. And so then I spoke to Graham very quickly about it in the hopes that we could work together on it. And I think it felt like a blueprint film right from the get-go. So the combination felt, very strong. And it was great because it was a completely different film to anything we'd worked on before. And then we just started to assemble the team together. And it was very fast, but it was fun right from the beginning.
It's kind of a delight, though, isn't it? We get to show the film. I mean, Toronto audiences are very, very fun, and there's a lovely sense when you come to this festival. These films have not been marketed to anyone. People have just looked through a brochure and gone, I want to see that one with Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley, or that sounds fun. So we get the chance tonight to hear it with whatever it is, 1,200 people, and it's a comedy. And there's nothing better than a comedy playing in a big room when it works.
I want them to be coming out of the cinema laughing, full of wonder at that crazy true story. And there's a lovely tension with telling a true story on screen between the reality and the version you've just seen, and I think that always prompts conversations about how much of it was real and how much of there's a deeper truth to the story, I think, and a weight to the story which I think really works brilliantly, that I hope people will take with them afterwards as well.
And the relationship between the girls probably also,
Yeah.
and just the notion of female friendship and how much the world has changed, if at all, sort of fundamentally. In 100 years.
And it has a final scene. There's a killer. You've never seen Olivia Colman do this before. And it will end on a high.
Yeah.